freedom is just really good marketing. You feel like you're in control, you feel like you're the one calling the shots, but what if that feeling of control and calling the shots is just an experience someone somewhere has actually designed for you? The algorithm doesn't just tell you the things you like, it shapes your decisions. Yeah. And there's a particular book that I read, right, that it opened my eyes to this whole. Real freedom is not about having unlimited options. It's about understanding how the options came about in the first instance. Yeah. So essentially, the algorithm is our decision maker these days. And why that is not the problem? The problem is often that we are not even aware. You think you're exploring the internet, but it's the internet that is essentially exploring all of us. What if your freedom is just really good marketing? You feel like you're in control, you feel like you're the one calling the shots, but what if that feeling of control and calling the shots is just an experience someone somewhere has actually designed for you to have? And worst of all is you might never get to meet the person. Every day we make thousands of choices. Netflix or YouTube, coffee or tea, what social media channel should I focus on today? What skills should I learn? And we face a lot of different choices, but at the end of the day, we have to make a particular kind of choice, right? And then when we make the choice, what we often think is that we are the one making the choices, but are we really the one making the choices? At the end of this video, what essentially you would get to understand is you would understand the architecture behind how you make your own choices, because you cannot even boast of the fact that you are really making your choices by yourself and you're not controlled, because there is an invisible system that wants to make you feel like you're in control, but essentially it's predictably controlling everything that you're doing. So you watch this, it changes your perspective about this and all of that. So hey, just stick with me to the end and I want to unravel the mystery behind how you make your choices. Now, before we essentially go into the crux of this whole matter, because it's going to be you're going to be wowed, it's that I want you to actually punch the subscribe button, right? And essentially like and share this with people who want it, because to be very honest, I think almost all of us have to watch this. The first point is that the algorithm is your invisible decision maker. Now, let's start with what you probably use every day. It is called an algorithm, right? And here's how that works, right? Every click you have, every post, every scroll, every time you get on the platform is actually a data for the algorithm to make its decision about you. Now, the algorithm is not just making its decision. Number one, the algorithm is getting to know you. The algorithm is getting to know the things you do. Apart from, and after that, it's actually getting to know the things that you essentially like, right? And so what it does is over time it curates what that is, and then it adds additional content that mirrors the themes of those things, and then it gives it to you. Now, every time you think you're actually exploring, you're discovering things, you're doing this, you're doing that, the algorithm is just, hey, helping you to curate those things. And in turn, the goal of the algorithm is such that it can help you make your decision. The algorithm doesn't just tell you the things you like, it shapes your decisions. Yeah. And there is a particular book that I read, right, that it opened my eyes to this whole thing. I mean, I do advanced analytics and I do prediction majorly, but it took it to a whole new level as to it. And this is the book, right? I would link the link to download this book in the description below, right? And the title of the book is The Power of Habit, right? And it is written by Charles Duhigg. He just essentially wrote about how a certain firm essentially used data to predict what their customers is essentially going to buy, when you're pregnant, when you're not pregnant. This one it eventually blew my mind away. So I mean, this book is actually very, very good to essentially understand how the algorithm works over how you think, right? Now, if you think about your Instagram feed or your Twitter feed or whatever, right? My Instagram feed is essentially different from yours, right? Maybe you use yours more than I use mine. I use X more than you use yours, right? Essentially, what we should see should be the same things. Have you ever thought about that? We should say the same thing, but it's tailored towards what you want. So it now begs the question, the bag that you bought yesterday, did you really want to buy the bag, or it was the algorithm telling you that, hey, I think from everything you've been looking at, you really need to get this particular bag, or this opinion that you really have that is very, very, very strong, I gave it to you. It is the algorithm saying that. So essentially, the algorithm is our decision maker these days. And why that is not the problem is often that we are not even aware that it is making our decisions, and that is one of the reasons for this video. An awareness to say that maybe you're not making your decisions yourself. It's an algorithm making it for you. So after you're aware, right, that the algorithm can make your decision for you, the next thing to know is actually that the algorithm knows you. And that is how prediction becomes manipulation. Because you see, yeah, the algorithm knows you, and that's how prediction becomes manipulation, right? Because it knows you, right? So it can manipulate some of your choices. Now, there is a profile of you somewhere in a very large data in a data center that is predicting what you buy next week, who you'd eventually vote for, what will make you hungry, what will make you buy certain things, what will make you go to this place, where you're probably going to go next, and all of that, right? And the algorithm doesn't just know all that, right? Why it knows all that is that it wants to be able to sway you the to do the biddings of those that eventually created the algorithm in the first place. Now, the algorithm, it studies your patterns, right? It studies your triggers, and then it serves you the confidence. It serves you the content that fits directly, exactly into that particular theme, that particular taste, right? So it's not just predicting your choices; it's actually shaping them. So I want you to think about the thing you last did online that was major, maybe what you bought or what you saw or what you interpreted or something like that. Do you really have to do it? You've had like 17 weeks, you still bought one more because it was new. Did you really have to do it? And it brings us to the point of questioning ourselves, because the most likely one of the things that the algorithm seeks to eventually achieve is not just to achieve something, it's eventually that it wants to keep you controlled while you think you are not in control, but it's predicting every of your steps, right? And that's essentially what the algorithm is doing. It wants to keep you controlled while you think you are not being controlled. It means you're controlling yourself, but it's predicting every of your steps. So if you can predict every of your steps, it's as well good as saying that, hey, the algorithm knows you and it knows what you're going to do next. Because imagine the algorithm is already watching you. It knows you're going to, if you're doing hybrid, it knows you're going to location maybe Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and then on Friday you're going to be here, on Thursday you're going to be here, and it can essentially predict it because you've always given it that data set. Again, you think you're exploring the internet, but it's the internet that is essentially exploring all of us, including me, including you. But there is a way to eventually fix this, because it's not a problem if you are aware, right? It's not a problem if you are aware. It's just that you can use it to your advantage. Again, finally, on the second step is to say that the most sophisticated form of control is the kind that actually makes you feel like you're in control, while every of your step is being predicted and guided. So, I want you to learn about this, and then maybe you can use it to your advantage. So the third point is essentially that real choice is awareness, right? You're aware of the fact that you're making your choice. I mean, and we've understood that, hey, there is an invisible system that wants to keep you controlled and wants you to do the bidding of the creator of the algorithm in itself. So what do you do, right? The first thing is that you can't stop choosing, because you have to choose out of the options you have. But the major thing is that you question your choices, right? You just don't do anything anyhow on the internet, and whatever you want to do, you want to question it. The truth is that for every time you get on the social media, you want to look at what you want to block the people you want to be able to block, you want to have access to people you want to be able to have access to. So that's not the problem, but the problem is that anytime you do things, you have to be able to know the reason why you are eventually doing them. So instead of asking, what do I want to buy, because you're seeing quite a number of things for you to buy, you can just ask, why do I want this? Instead of saying, what should I choose? You can say, hey, from the choices I'm about to make, what actually benefits from it? And that essentially would inform making much more informed decisions, right? Real freedom is not about having unlimited options. It's about understanding how the options came about in the first instance. And when you understand how the options came about in the first instance, you can now make decisions, right? About how you want to choose your thing, right? About how you want to do these things. Because what essentially we want to stop is that you want to stop your mind from being on autopilot every time you get on the internet, right? You want to, and for every time that, hey, you think about these questions in terms of making a decision, you are taking back a piece of your mind that has been outsourced to the algorithm, right? You're taking it back, and then you can now start being your authentic self. What I just want you to do is I want you to start small, start thinking about the reasons why you're doing certain things, and whenever you do that, and then you can make decisions based on what you want, what you like, and what you know will benefit yourself. So we are journal time, and what I want you to do is just very straightforward. List the things that you really want to buy. That's like one of the most relatable ways. List them and ask yourself why you want to buy them. Do I really need them? Do I want to use this? Do I need it, at least for now? Right. So when you do that, what you're doing is you are at least taking back a piece of your mind, right? And this sometimes, the way I like to look at it is actually that there is a game that I didn't even know existed, and it has rules. But now that I'm aware that there is a game, how do I play the game? Because the goal is to be in full control of myself, is to be in full control of my thinking, is to be able to make my decisions myself, without having been cajoled by an algorithm or somebody at the back of a system. So I think when you understand this, you're eventually going to love it, and it helps how you make your decisions yourself. Again, till we all win, and then we'll see in the next video.